quickly.
You actually prophesied.
You prophesied.
Not like I liked what is playing out, but I just said that whenever the federal government means you, the wheel will definitely grind to that point.
We will look at what the Constitution says and also how it played out today. The CJN, if it is official, if you're just getting the news, the president announced the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Oluoha, a couple of hours ago. We'll get to that, but let's begin from Abia State as usual. The Federal High Court sitting in Abuja affirmed Oluoha as the duly nominated candidate of the All Progressives Congress in the 2019 governorship election in Abia State. I think that may put to end the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, who which INEC is saying that it is Oluoha, but we've got numerous court ruling and also judgment. But today, the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja affirmed his candidature. In a ruling by Justice Anule Chikere held that the primary conducted by the party's national executive is valid and recognized by Section 87 of the Electoral Act. I think we need to listen to his counsel. His counsel spoke after that judgment. Let's listen to him speak.
The court was asked to determine two main issues. Who is the go-back candidate of APC for Abia State? Secondly, which organ of the party is legally permitted to conduct primaries to nominate go-back candidates in a given state? The court looked at the decision of the Supreme Court in Emenike against PDP. The court, by the principle of stare decisis, said that it is the national executive of the party, as held by the Supreme Court of Nigeria, that is legally recognized and empowered and permitted. And the National Executive of APC conducted primaries in Abia State on 2nd of October, which produced Dr. Oluoha as the candidate of the party.
All right, that's the situation. Well, the All Progressives Congress in Abia State.
I think Ginika just pointed something out in the newsroom. It looks like it's not yet Uhuru. Because this is a ruling from another high court, a court of coordinate jurisdiction. I'm not a lawyer, but it looks like it is not yet Uhuru. And come Monday, from what I understand, the appeal by Ikechi Emenike will be heard.
So? Yeah, I told you, Sampson, that this, myself, I'm really getting tired of this.
This one appeared so academic.
Yes, you know, the Federal High Court will give a judgment on a particular, another High Court, the same court of coordinate jurisdiction, give a judgment on a particular issue again. You know, just last week, 2 weeks ago, Ikechi Emenike had his own. Today again, Oluoha. Who knows, maybe by Monday again, some other person will get another court judgment. Please, we are getting tired of all this. I think we want to see, you know, this case progress to the next stage, which is maybe the Court of Appeal looking into it and probably going to the Supreme Court so that we'll end this thing once and for all. Move ahead.
All right, let's move on. We've got so much to talk about on the program this evening. Let's quickly move straight to some other stories from Abia State. The senator representing Abia North Senatorial Zone made some allegations right here in the studios of Flow 94.9 FM as it concerns the erosion challenges, the perennial erosion challenges ravaging some part of Isi Quarter. He said the senator, the distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, blamed the perennial erosion on the former Abia State governor, Orji Uzor Kalu. He spoke on our political program, Politics Right Now. Senator Mao Ohuabunwa alleged that Orji Uzor Kalu's administration diverted funds meant to address the erosion challenges in the past. Let's listen to him speak on that particular one.
The point is that this problem was caused by the former governor, Orji Uzor Kalu. That's why we're still in this problem. When I was in the House of Reps, I was the deputy leader. We came, either 1990 or 2000, with Obasanjo to that erosion site. There and then, Obasanjo pledged 350 million, which he gave. And that money was diverted. Telling you that I was in the House. I didn't say I was told. I was a leader. I came in the entourage of the president. The records are there now. You can go into the archives. So based on that, the federal government got angry and did not release further funds. So, and the thing kept depreciating to the level.
All right, there you have it. So serious allegation, 350 million, I think. Sampson, is it?
Well, it's Ginika Oluoha has a village. And Ginika, you should talk about what's happening in your village.
Of course, you know, I'm not in the Senate, neither am I in the House of Assembly, House of Reps. But that, I think, we just heard a part of that, the whole story. Okay. We've not heard from the other side of it. So it wouldn't be really nice if we just base our argument on what the senator has said. Okay. Let's just leave it at that.
All right. Before we go to our major story for today, two courts today issued conflicting rulings on whether INEC can accept candidates presented by the All Progressives Congress from Zamfara elections in 2019. A high court sitting in Gusau, that's a Zamfara state capital, ruled that the governing APC actually conducted primaries in the state and should be allowed to present candidates in the electoral contests. An Abuja court, however, ruled otherwise. The Federal High Court in Abuja ruled that INEC acted within its powers by refusing to accept the list of candidates from Zamfara State chapter of the APC. That's the situation. Two court rulings, conflicting rulings rather, whether INEC can accept candidates or not. Well, there you have it.
I think we should just move straight into what is happening
in the judiciary.
The judiciary at the moment, okay. It's trying times for Nigeria's judiciary, and I can tell you that ruling maybe something is a thing that we're going to have more of it. We're going to have.
All right, let's move straight to that now. Presently, some hours ago, if it came as a breaking news on our news, a major news bulletin for 6 p.m. The president announced the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Walter Oluoha, citing order from the Code of Conduct Tribunal. He announced the appointment of the next most senior judge of the Supreme Court, who happens to be from a Bauchi state, Ibrahim Tanko Mohammed. And the president made reference to the false assets declaration charges against the Chief Justice. Let's listen to him speak.
Directing the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Honorable Justice Walter Nkanu Samuel Onogen, from office pending final determination of the cases against him at the Code of Conduct Tribunal and several other fora relating to his alleged breach of the conduct of the Code of Conduct for public officers.
We had a lawyer, an Umuahia-based lawyer, speak to us on News Now earlier today.
Good evening. How are you?
Fine, thank you very much. How did you receive the news of the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria by the president a while ago?
I received the news of the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria with greatest dismay and shock. I described what happened as what we call executive rascality and impunity. The president does not have any power whatsoever to suspend the Chief Justice of Nigeria. The power to suspend the Chief Justice of Nigeria is an exclusive power belonging to the National Judicial Council of Nigeria. It is only the NJC that has the power to suspend a sitting judge or a justice of the Supreme Court. So whatsoever the president of the Federation has done is just like putting something on nothing, which it cannot stand. So, and the person who allowed himself to be sworn in as the acting Chief Justice of Nigeria, he does that at the peril of his own. I just want to refer you to the case of Abia State when the National Assembly purportedly suspended the Chief Judge of Abia State and sworn in Justice Obisike Orji. The matter went to the NJC, and the NJC on that basis decided to make recommendation for the compulsory retirement of Justice.
Because of our time, I will have to cut that short. That's Barrister Ladu Martins, an Umuahia-based lawyer. Guys, there you have it. That's the situation as it concerns the judiciary in Abia State. In Nigeria, rather. Sorry.
Yeah, you may not be too far because we had a similar case here in Abia State when the Chief Judge of Abia State, right?
Yeah, Theresa Ozokwe.
Theresa Ozokwe was
the former chief judge.
Was she even suspended or sacked?
She was
the recommendation
suspended.
of the House of Assembly. The governor took a decision which the NJC voided later on. Yesterday, I said it on this platform that it's just a matter of time before the wheel grinds to that point where justice no, it's not about being a prophet. It's just about you being realistic and then following events here.
Let me read from the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
But before you come in, Michael, there are so many implications to what is playing out now. Why is the federal government so desperate to get this man out of the way? 3 weeks to presidential election. I watched Femi Adesina, the president's spin doctor, labor very hard to explain that decision earlier on national TV this evening, and I kind of feel for him. And then look at the constitutional breaches and all that. It's a smack of a non-democratic state, and I wonder where.
Let me read from this the Nigeria Constitution. I think this will be a guide. According to Section 292, the Constitution that deals with the removal of some public officers, including the CJN as the Chief Justice of Nigeria, a judicial officer shall not be removed from his office or appointment before his age of retirement, except in the following circumstances. A. In the case of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, President of the Court of Appeal, the Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, the Chief Judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, the Grand Qadi of the Sharia Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory, and the President, Customary Court of Appeal of the Federal Capital Territory by the President acting on an address supported by 2/3 majority of the Senate. The same thing as it concerns the Chief Judge for the state. Then in the B, it says, in any order than those of this paragraph A, of this subsection applies by the President, or as the case may be, the governor acting on the recommendation of the NJC that the judicial officer shall be removed for his inability to discharge the function of his office. Now, let me just summarize this. In other words, a sitting CJN can only be removed from the office by the President after at least 2/3 majority members of the Senate support such a move. No such matter has been debated on the floor of the Senate.
Well, I don't think we should dwell more on this particular issue. Of course, you know the matter is in court, and the court is looking into it. But from our own layman point of view, I think the President ought to have followed the due process, which is getting the report or recommendation from the NJC before taking any action. I don't think the CCT has every right, to give directive to the President to suspend. In my own opinion, that's my own personal opinion. But be that as it may, the matter is still in court. So I rest my case.
Okay, but then again, guys, the presidency is saying that this decision is based on the directive from the Code of Conduct Tribunal that the CJN has refused to appear in court and all that. And based on that recommendation, the CCT is saying that this presidency should suspend the CJN. And then there was another court order
restraining
CCT from going on with that trial. So it's a bit conflicting, but in all, no matter the good intention, yes, fighting corruption, but then we have signed up that we are going to practice democracy as a form of government. It is only right on the platform of truth. They say nothing is right until it is right. It's only right that we go through the normal process, respect the dictates, and then the Constitution, which is the grand norm of the form of government that we have chose for ourselves.
Well, guys, let's move on quickly. Let's talk about Imo State before we open the phone lines. NWC, that's the National Working Council of the All Progressives Congress, declared that the purported expulsion of the party's governorship candidate in Imo State, Senator Hope Uzodinma, is invalid. That's according to the National Publicity Secretary of APC, Malam Lanre Isaonilu, said Imo State Working Committee led by Mr. Daniel Nwafo was dissolved after members lost confidence in its abilities to lead the parties to victory. This is rendering Uzodinma's expulsion null and void. Let's talk about the socio-political group in this part of the country, Ohaneze Ndigbo, endorsing the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. That was done yesterday by, according to the statement released by the President General of the socio-political group, or John Nwodo. Announced the endorsement in a statement. But Anambra State government came out and dissociated itself from the purported communique by Ohaneze Ndigbo. According to Solu Chukwulubelu. Yeah. Okay, the secretary to the Anambra State government. He made a disclosure in a statement and said the content of the communique did not reflect the Anambra State government position. But as it stands now, the highest decision-making council of the Igbo Cultural Socio-Political Group took this decision in Enugu after its meeting. That's the situation.
Well, Michael, I tell you, my name is Sampson Eze. Okay. I'm an Igbo man. by birth. I'm a qualified Igbo man. But I tell you, Ohaneze, as a socio-cultural organization, in this regard, has overreached itself. Because how can you endorse a candidate of a political party? What about other indigenes, other Igbos, other people of Southeast who hold different political opinion? You're shutting them out completely. They have overreached their powers, and I thought that they were set out as a non-political organization, but here they have taken they've taken a launch, or they are prodding in the dark, I must tell you.
I expected the Ohaneze Ndigbo to be smart, at least at this point in time. Remember what happened to the Southeast?
It's even very risky.
Yeah, what happened to Southeast in 2015 when everybody supported Goodluck, Jonathan, he's our brother and all that. That was good, but look at where he landed everybody. Now, eventually, the president, Buhari, got the mandate, and the man decided to look at those that voted for him. Everybody's like crying foul. I think they ought to have done the needful, which is, it's better they keep quiet, they keep quiet and probably sit back and watch things unfold instead of taking a stand on a particular political party, the PDP. What if the PDP doesn't get it this time and Buhari gets it again? You still run to the same person telling him, oh, you didn't appoint us in this and all that. I don't think that's the best way to go.
I really thought they should have left it very much open.
Very, very open.
Yeah. All right, we're live on YouTube. If you want to be part of you need to be part of our online TV, Flow 94.9 FM on YouTube, and watch what is ongoing. The studio already transformed into a TV studio. Fantastic, I will say. Well, let's talk about the madam, the campaign team of Obi Ezekwesili, the presidential candidate of the Allied Congress Party of Nigeria, reacted to the allegations by the party that she was never serious with her presidential ambition, but only used the platform to negotiate a top ministerial position. Said the woman, Madam Obi Ezekwesili, negotiated being the Minister of Finance. And she stepped down and said her decision was to build a coalition to defeat the All Progressives Congress and the People's Democratic Party. Well, that's the situation.
I really don't know whether you follow the news this evening.
Okay.
Fela
Durotoye.
Is it Fela Femi Durotoye?
Oh, Fela Durotoye.
Durotoye, okay. And Kingsley Moghalu. There's a coalition, a strong coalition that is cooking up, and for Obi Ezekwesili, I think that party has adopted a transactional method of operation, and it is not just good, and it's just a matter of time before they fade into oblivion. But for that coalition, emerging coalition between Fela Durotoye, Kingsley Moghalu, and we're expecting your man.
Why are you calling Chowore my man?
No, but he's your man now.
He's not my man. I'm not supporting any candidate.
Declared him your man.
No. Please, let's correct that. He's not my man. Although he said something a couple of minutes before we entered the studio. He said that.
Personally to you?
No, not to me. That he pledged his commitment to coalition talks for next month's presidential election, that he's ready for coalition. So there might be a third force, against the APC and the PDP. There might be a third force.
It would be very refreshing if we can have them come together in one party and see if they can upstage the APC.
Something that they couldn't do even before now. You remember they wanted to form a kind of alliance.
It is never too late.
The thing didn't go. Now they want to tell us they want to come back.
The only thing that
I just wonder how that will.
The only thing that has changed now is that even if you leave or not, your party logo will still be on the ballot. And I like to say you must run.
Let's head straight to the phone line.
Run to where?
Let's head straight to the phone line. 0808 182 6949 0811 605 2949. You can also drop your messages on the SMS line 0906 510 8289. Good evening to you.
Good evening, Michael and Sampson.
Good evening to you.
I remember one of your brothers, Mr. Swago Prince from Monachobo.
You're welcome.
What a misnomer and aberration of our constitution. As a grandson of the guy that leads us, when has our president become a lawyer? You have been telling us that the CJN should be suspended by him. It is a very big challenge to judiciary. Let judiciary not be a dog bite itself. How can a jury take a step against his juries when the constitution has made it very, very clear for all of us? So let's increase constitutional law in Nigeria. Let all women in Nigeria stand against this coup against the separation of powers in Nigeria. Then finally on OBS question, I think she made it very, very late. The coalition of 3 weeks, what can they achieve within 3 weeks interval? So his withdrawal, her withdrawal is a very big misnomer to the election.
All right. Thank you very much. Good evening to you.
God bless you.
Chief Oluoha Nkwodede, you're welcome.
Yes, from my. Hello.
Hello. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yes.
All right, Chief, try call back. The line is so bad. Good evening to you.
Yeah. Good evening, gentlemen of the press.
Good evening to you.
Good evening. Yeah, this is the on the line. There are some certain questions I want to ask. I understand that Honore accepted that it's a mistake. It's very, very understandable. What about the director of pension board that was suspended for like 2 times by the board, and Muhammadu Buhari returned him back 2 times until he was okay with himself before he now asked him to go on compulsory leave that led to his retirement. That is number 1. Number 2, does it mean that we don't have anybody from Southeast or South that will replace Honore? That's number 2. Number 3, Amina Zakari issue came up, and now it has gone low, probably because nobody is talking about it again. Look at Operation Python. That one has piped low too. A very whole lot of things that have been going wrong. Buhari has been trying to cover all the loopholes that he thinks that will make him not to win 2019 general election. The world is watching. Nigerians are also watching. Now, going to Maho Hapunwa issue.
All right, please, you have to wrap up your thoughts, please.
Maho has said it clear yesterday that Ojo Zokalo diverted the money that was given to him for him to take care of Isukwato gully erosion. So let other North people know it today that Ojo Zokalo is not fit for that job. It's only Maho that is.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Good evening to you. Hello, good evening. Okay, the line is back. Sampson.
Yes, sir, we need to correct an impression here. That statement was made by Mao Huabunwa. It's not that of Flow FM, and we've been trying since today to reach out to the camp of former Governor Ojo Zokalo to get his reaction to that. Hope to have Maduka Okoro tomorrow, maybe in the morning, to react to that statement.
Okay, let's get more calls before we wrap up the show this evening. Good evening to you.
Good evening.
Good evening, you're welcome. What's your name?
Jude from Butsu.
All right, Jude.
Okay, I want to talk on the issue of CJN. This is not the first time suggesting is happening. When you have a very bad situation, you apply drastic method.
Salami was removed by Jonathan sometime during his regime, and nobody condemned it. So the president is right in removing this man because this man is terribly corrupt. They found $350 million in his account. That's too bad. So please, I commend the Mr. President for what he has done, for taking this action to save the judiciary from such corrupt heads. And then the issue of Remawu and the just like he said, let the media aid of Audio Zocalo respond very fast to be able to clear the air. Let us know the truth about the whole situation. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for your contribution. Good evening to you.
Hello.
Good evening. All right, go ahead, please.
We want to talk about we have of ourselves. We really don't know what happens in 2016 when we do good luck and stage in our program.
All right, the line is bad. Good evening to you.
Yes, good evening, Michael. Good evening, and gentlemen in the house here.
You're welcome.
This is Dr. Ken calling from Columbia.
All right, thank you very much. Please speak up.
Okay. I want to ask our honorable senator that allegedly accused Audio Zocalo of having 300 million or thereabouts. I want to ask, what has he been doing at that time Audio Zocalo was still in power? Why did he petition Audio Zocalo? Why did he keep silent and bring the case now that the politics is high? And secondly, Buhari, I don't like his pattern of administration. Everything has due process in Nigeria. It was very, very unfortunate that during Buhari period that everything had been violated. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for your opinion. Let's get straight to the phone, the SMS line. This one says the handwriting on the wall is now very clear that the president is not ready to give us a credible election by the suspension of the CJN. Okay, the judiciary should rise up and fight this impending doom. Sinclair, I think the CJN should step aside because that office is next to God. There should not be any indictment because it will cause the citizens not to believe in their judgment. The implication will be disaster. No name. Uche Oga should not panic or fear of any candidate. He stands the best among all. Victory is on his way. Mao Onwabunwa should not point back. What has he done since 4 years to help the situation, especially his Equator people on that road? Thanks. Joe Cardinal from Okigwe. Okay. Ziza OKB says CJN meanwhile is a suspect not yet convicted. Therefore, the president has every power to suspend him pending trial. You're trying to play audio of events to us. Kudos to that. Buhari and his cabals are working for nothing but about the CJN. It will never be removed. Chinedu from Mbise in Imo State. Okay, I think we're done with the show this evening, and today is the final show for the week. Okay, this one says, I blame Ohaneze for endorsing PDP. Please, they should not politicize the issue of Audio Zocalo because of elections, Sir John. Those are the messages. Guys, thank you very much for being part of this. Well, we had the debate this week. It's been fantastic, right from Monday down to this moment, following all our political programs from the State of the Nation down to the week in retrospect, which we will have tomorrow.